to episode 5 now. Changes made to the King James Version of the Bible by the Joseph Smith translation. Or from a believing Latter-day Saints point of view, what the Bible actually said when the original writers wrote it before a combination of inept, uninspired, and sometimes maybe even evil intended translators changed what it was originally written. Before I had a Nook and the paper scriptures. That was because I had Pearl of Great Price I was reading from Pearl of Great Price in the paper and looking at the King James Version of the Bible on the Nook. Now we're done with the Pearl of Great Price, at least for the Old Testament. And I'm just on to this. And here are my notes about which chapters have these changes. If I miss a chapter, please put it in the comment section below. Maybe I'll put it into the next episode. We're starting off with chapter 6. Let's see, I didn't write down the verses, but okay. Verse 18. This is Noah, who's most famous for building the ark and being one of 8 survivors of the flood that killed every other person on the earth. Let's see, 18. But with thee I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons with thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Joseph Smith translation throws in, my covenant, even as I have sworn unto thy father Enoch, that all of thy posterity shall come. That of thy posterity shall come all nations, and thou, shall come into the ark. So there, not a big change, but important enough to include in this video series. The covenant God made was with Enoch, not with Noah. Alrighty, and 8. Let's see, 8:20 says, and Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings unto the Lord. Go. I've got bookmarks so you won't be tortured watching me slowly hunt down the pages. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar, and gave thanks unto the Lord, and rejoiced in his heart. And the Lord spake unto Noah, and he blessed him. And Noah smelled a sweet savour, and said in his heart, I will call on the name of the Lord, that he will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and he will not again smite any more every living thing, as he hath done while the earth remaineth. Alright, the differences here is the Lord, in the King James Version, it does not note Noah giving thanks and rejoicing in his heart. And in the King James Version, the Lord smells a sweet savor, not Noah. In the King James Version, the Lord makes these promises or proclamations that here Noah is saying that he will ask the Lord for. Alright. Now 9. 9's got a lot of stuff. Okay. 9:4 says, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. Alrighty. And so that's how the series of verses starts out. We need to go to the appendix for this one. Which says, but the blood of all flesh which I have given you for meat shall be shed upon the ground, which taketh life thereof, and the blood ye shall not eat. And surely blood shall not be shed only for meat, to save your lives, and the blood of every beast will I require at your hands. And whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for man shall not shed the blood of man. For a commandment I give, that every man's brother shall preserve the life of man. For in mine own image have I made man. And a commandment I give unto you, be ye fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly on the earth, and multiply therein. Bookmark down. There we go. Okay, so the difference is that puts more of an emphasis on why we're not supposed to kill, and while letting us know it's alright to eat meat, there's nothing wrong with it. It does let us know to not be randomly killing things. We should kill only to save our life. Get food, of course. Let's see, 9. This is a smaller one. And behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you. I will establish my covenant with you, which I made unto your father Enoch, concerning your seed after you. Okay, so it's the covenant with Enoch. 11. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth. C. And after that, the Lord said, and I will establish my covenant with you, which I made unto Enoch concerning the remnants of your posterity. 15. I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. That's not the end of the verse, but let's get to the changes. Actually it says, I have made between me and you for every living creature, not and every living creature. So God did not covenant with the deer and the bear. He covenanted with Noah. And what did he covenant with them? Waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. Alright, we get to go to the appendix now. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. That's God speaking. Alrighty. And we are here at, yes. Here's what Moses actually wrote. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant which I made unto thy father Enoch, that when men shall keep all my commandments, Zion should again come on the earth, and the city of Enoch which I have caught up unto myself. And this is mine everlasting covenant, that when my posterity shall embrace the truth and look upward, then shall Zion look downward. And all the heavens shall shake with gladness, and the earth shall tremble with joy. And the general assembly of the church of the firstborn shall come down out of heaven, and possess the earth, and shall have place until the end come. And this is mine everlasting covenant, which I made with thy father Enoch. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will establish my covenant with thee, unto thee, unto thee, which I have made between me and thee for every living creature of all flesh that shall be upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant, which I have established between me and thee for all flesh that shall be upon the earth. Alrighty. And more little ones. 26. And the Lord said, and he said, this is Noah, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant, and a veil of darkness shall cover him, and he shall be known among all nations. This is when Noah was cursing Canaan, because Canaan discovered his nakedness. Alright, next, we skip ahead to 13. And 14, yes. 13 verse 14 says, okay, this is King James Version, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, look up now thine eyes, and look from the place which, where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth. Okay. I just started reading and kept going there. Let's see, verse 14. It is verse 14a. Okay, so after eastward and westward, the Lord also said, and remember the covenant which I make with thee, for it shall be an everlasting covenant, and thou shalt remember the days of Enoch thy father. Alright. After a big battle, Lot was captured, Lot was rescued. Abram and his army, his servants were successful. It says, and Melchizedek king of Salem brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And, let's see, it starts at D. Okay, and what actually happened, after he brought forth bread and wine, there's this line too. And he brake bread and blessed it, and he blessed the wine, he being the priest of the Most High. Sounds to me like the sacrament. Maybe he could have just been blessing the food before a meal too. I'm not 100% certain that he was performing the sacrament, but I lean towards that opinion definitely. Okay, and at the end of that verse, the end of that chapter, there's a footnote, which takes us to the appendix. So, what Abram said to the king of Sodom, that doesn't need to be corrected. Alright, here we go. And Melchizedek lifted up his voice and blessed Abram. Now Melchizedek was a man of faith, who wrought righteousness. And when a child he feared God, and stopped the mouths of lions, and quenched the violence of fire. And thus, having been approved of God, he was ordained an high priest after the order of the covenant which God had made with Enoch. It being after the order of the Son of God, which order came not by man, nor by the will of man, neither by father nor mother, neither by beginning of days, nor end of days, but by God. Alright, so this verse lets us know. Melchizedek was not without father, mother, or end of days. It's talking about the priesthood power and authority that he had. And it was delivered unto men by the calling of his own voice, this is God's voice, according to his own will, unto as many as believed on his name. For God, having sworn unto Enoch, and unto his seed with an oath by himself, that everyone being ordained after this order and calling should have power by faith to break mountains, to divide the seas, to dry up waters, to turn them out of their course, to put at defiance the armies of nations, to divide the earth, to break every band, to stand in the presence of God, to do all things according to his will, according to his command, subdue principalities and powers, and this by the will of the Son of God, which was from before the foundation of the world. And men, having this faith, coming up unto the order of God, were translated and taken up into heaven. Now Melchizedek was a priest of this order. Therefore he obtained peace in Salem, and was called the Prince of Peace. And his people wrought righteousness, and obtained heaven, and sought for the city of Enoch, which God had before taken, separating it from the earth, having reserved it unto the latter days, or the end of the world. And hath said and sworn with an oath that the heavens and the earth should come together, and the sons of God should be tried so as by fire. And this Melchizedek, having thus established righteousness, was called the King of Heaven by his people, or in other words, the King of Peace. And he lifted up his voice, and he blessed Abram, being the high priest and the keeper of the storehouse of God, him whom God had appointed to receive tithes for the poor, Wherefore Abram paid unto him tithes of all that he had, of all the riches which he possessed, which God had given him, more than that which he had need. And it came to pass that God blessed Abram, and gave unto him riches, and honor, and lands for an everlasting possession, according to the covenant which he had made, and according to the blessing wherewith Melchizedek had blessed him. Alrighty. That was the 14. 15 has something. Yeah, 15 and then 17. And it's in the appendix. Alright, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. That is the King James Version. This is one of those Joseph Smith translations that, the verses of the Joseph Smith translation that any Christian should love. Maybe you shouldn't call yourself a Christian if this verse doesn't get you, a little bit happy. And Abram said, Lord God, how wilt thou... No, where was I? Is this the one I was thinking of? Let's see. Let's go back and look at the right one. Make sure I got the right one. Just 15, 9, 12. Yeah, okay. And Abram said, Lord God, how wilt thou give me this land for an everlasting inheritance? And the Lord said, Though thou wast dead, yet am I not able to give it unto thee. And if thou shalt die, yet thou shalt possess it, for the day cometh that the Son of Man shall live. But how can he live if he be not dead? He must first be quickened. And it came to pass that Abram looked forth and saw the days of the Son of Man. And he was glad, and his soul found rest. And he believed in the Lord, and the Lord counted it unto him for righteousness. Alright, so he believed, and he saw the days of the Son of Man. He saw when Jesus Christ was on the earth. Alright, 17 and 4. For behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Alright, that's verse 17 as the King James has it. This is D. Alright, D. So at the end of the verse, there's more. Joseph Smith's translation is, And this covenant I make that thy children may be known among all nations. Alright, so there's a difference between... No, it's just here promising that the children of Abraham will be known. Alright, get ready to go to the appendix again. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. That's the King James Version. Joseph Smith translation says 17, 11 through 12. Ooh, wait, no, I must have skipped something. There's an appendix here. There's an appendix here I didn't read yet. What did I skip over? Oh, verse 3. And Abraham fell on his face. Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying... Alrighty, let's see. Here's more things that God said to Abram. And it came to pass that Abram fell on his face and called upon the name of the Lord. And God talked with him, saying, My people have gone astray from my precepts, and have not kept mine ordinances which I gave unto their fathers. And they have not observed mine anointing, and the burial, or baptism, wherewith I commanded them. Yep. Yeah. Side note. Yeah, one thing that Latter-day Saints believe is God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And baptism is something that God has always wanted people to do. Believing in Jesus Christ is what God has always wanted people to do. Let's see. 6. but have turned from the commandments and taken unto themselves washing of children, and the blood of sprinkling, and have said that the blood of righteous Abel was shed for their sins, and have not known wherein they are accountable before me. There we go. So, that's one reason why Abram was so great, was God had a covenant people at the time when Abram was on the earth that had apostatized. They stopped doing what they were supposed to do. And Abraham bucked the trend. He did not go with the flow of society, but followed God's commandments, instead of continuing on in the apostasy that everyone else was in. Alright, next one, verse 7. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and thy seed after thee. Alright, Joseph Smith translation says, and I will establish a covenant of circumcision with thee, and it shall be my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, that thou mayest know forever that children are not accountable before me until they are 8 days old. 8 years. Circumcise 8 days. Here it says 8 years. Baptize 8 years. Until they are 8 years old. And thou shalt observe to keep all my covenants wherein I covenanted with thy fathers. And thou shalt keep the commandments which I have given unto thee with mine own mouth. And I will be a God unto thee and thy seed after thee. Okay, well, I think I'm going to make 2 episodes out of Genesis. I'm only on 17. I'm looking at the clock and thinking, I'm not going to wrap it up really soon, but with how much more I have to go, let's see. Next one that was there is 17a. Okay. Now God, this is when God changed Abram to Abraham and Sarai to Sarah. And let's see, Abraham and God promised a son out of Sarah. 17. And Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said unto his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? Alrighty. The JST is this is a one-word correction. It's on laughed, and it should have been, it was rejoiced. He rejoiced. He wasn't making fun of God or thinking God was telling a joke. He was glad that he was going to have a son with his wife, who was the wife of the covenant. Alright, time to burn Sodom and Gomorrah down. Let's see, chapter 18. And the Lord, let's see, okay, so Abraham sees 3 men coming to him. Verse 3, he said, my Lord, another one-word change. 3a, brethren. Okay, he was calling these messengers of God brethren, not Lord. Alright, verse 22 is the next one. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. Okay, so what's the change here? It starts off the verse. So, it's the problem with this verse is the way it starts. The way the verse should actually start, the way it did start when Moses wrote it was, and the angels which were holy men and were sent forth after the order of God turned their faces. Okay, so I'm not sure if he's meaning those angels, if they're calling them men because angels and men look exactly the same. Angel means a messenger. Were they men, mortal men that were being used by God as messengers? Or are they divine beings, angels sent from heaven, that because angels and men looked like men, and that's why they were called men. Not sure. But either way, they were after the order of God. They were priesthood holders. There we go. 19. Let's see. And this whole chapter gets started off on the wrong foot. And there came, footnote, 3 angels. 2 angels. Alright. Now that we got the numbers right, it's 3 of them. So it was sort of a presidency. 3 angels. Next one is verse 8. Behold, now I have 2 daughters, which I have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. Alright. In case somebody's not a scriptorian, quick summary. These messengers of God got to Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot found them. And they told Lot they were planning on slipping out the street, and Lot knew how bad of an idea that was because he knew how evil his city was, and he told them to come to his house. At night, his house was surrounded by the men of the city of Sodom demanding these angels, these messengers of God, so that the men of Sodom could sodomize them. The King James Version makes it sound like Lot is offering up his daughters instead of the angels. Let's see. But Lot was not that bad. Here's what Lot really said. Joseph Smith translation. And they said unto him, Stand back, and they were angry with him. Okay, I think that they there is the men of the city that surrounded his house. And they said among themselves, This one man came to sojourn among us, and he will needs now make himself be a judge. Now we will deal worse with him than with them. Therefore they said unto the man, We will have the men, and thy daughters also. See, it was the men of Sodom who brought up the idea of Lot's daughters, not Lot offering them to him. Let's see. And we will do with them as seemeth us good. Now this was after the wickedness of Sodom. And Lot said, Behold, now I have 2 daughters, which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, plead with my brethren, that I may not bring them out unto you, and ye shall not do unto them as seemeth good in your eyes. For God will not justify his servant in this thing. Wherefore, let me plead with my brethren, this once only, that unto these men ye do nothing, that they may have peace in my house. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they were angry with Lot, and came near to break the door. But the angels of God, which were holy men, put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house unto them, and shut the door. There we go. So now we know who really offered Lot's daughters. Nobody offered them. The bad guys threatened to break in and take them. Okay, verse 12. Okay, verse 12 starts off, And the men said unto Lot. JST corrects it and says, These holy men. Okay. Slight difference. Extremely slight, but big enough for this story. Let's see, 31. This is after they've run out of the city. Lot's wife is dead. His daughters are living on Mount Zoar, and the daughters get the idea to get pregnant by their father. 31 says, And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man on the earth to come unto us after the manner of the earth. Alrighty, the change here is 31a. Okay. The firstborn, in between no, in between the and firstborn, it should say firstborn dealt wickedly and said. No, actually, so firstborn, after firstborn it should say. Either way, it's just letting us know that the firstborn should not have been thinking about getting pregnant by her dad. That was thinking wickedly. 35. Same story. And they made their father drink wine that night also. Let's see, 30. It starts off different. JST lets us know, and they did wickedly and made their father drink wine. Okay, so then they got pregnant by their father. They were successful in their attempt to get pregnant by their father. But both of those changes, it lets us know they should not have been doing it. They did wickedly. Alright, and nothing in 20. 21. It's been about a half an hour now. Let's try to make these episodes a half hour long. Yeah, we'll stop there. Thank you for watching. And I think I might finish Genesis today since I already looked into what the changes are. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.